You know, we all come to Flight Club, the ones of us who have been here a really long time, and probably even the guests, with certain expectations, right? That the event's going to be great, the evenings are going to be fun and drinking a lot, but mostly we think, wow, these sessions are going to be awesome. So I kind of just want to set the expectations now, right? Because before we start, I want to make sure everyone knows that in no way in hell is this going to be as sexy as a Mike Filsaime presentation, right? I'm sorry, it's just not going to be that sexy, all right? This presentation is also not going to be nearly as prolific as a Michael Stevenson presentation, right? That's just not going to happen. And the biggest thing of all, it is not going to be nearly as classy as a Glenn Ledwell presentation. However, this is my promise to you. I have been doing this literally, professionally, for 38 years. I have been growing companies through direct response marketing as the foundation. What I want to speak to you about today, I promise you, if you do correctly, you will find a whole new revenue source in your company through one of those channels. All right, we all know that the majority of folks in here probably run their business digitally, and 99% of their revenue probably comes from online. But there was this thing a very long time ago. I mean, a really long time ago, kind of like when dinosaurs ruled the earth, there was this thing called direct mail. Now, a lot of you, or some of you now, probably didn't even see it. Like, you're not old enough, you know, but when I tell you, I have been doing this from the 80s and 90s, when we spoke to our customers, it was all through the mail, right? So it cost you, back then, $2 a customer. Think about that. Right now, I email about 10 million pieces a month. And when I was president of Weiss, we were mailing, right? We were mailing 3 million pieces a month, mailing in the mail, okay? So when you understand direct mail, not only is it going to open up a whole new channel for you, it is going to make all of your digital marketing so much better, okay? So direct mail has been around forever. There's just, you know, it's just effective, and that's what people don't think. Like, they think, oh, direct mail, that's dead. But it's not, okay? With direct mail, you're going to reach people more directly, right? You're going to have it in their home, and guess what? Guess how many days people keep an average direct mail piece in their house? 17 days, okay? So imagine if someone looked at your email for 17 days. How long do they look at it? 17 minutes, maybe, right? Okay? You know, it's tangible, right? It's something people feel. They believe it's real. It gives them that credibility. It's a little more personal. Think about the pieces you get that have your name on it. They have, you know, it obviously has your address on it. But I mean, not just real estate. My gosh, all of the political mail you're probably getting now. It probably speaks to you if it's sent to the right person. There's so much more chance of engagement, whether it's a number 10 envelope, an invitation envelope, a magalog, a bookalog. It's just more engaged. People are more engaged with it, okay? And frankly, they appreciate the effort. All right, I'm not going to read everything on here. Obviously, it's a lot of information. You'll get the slides, but it's more formal, too. You know, a lot of digital marketers have given a lot of ethical marketers a bad rap, okay? So it's a little more, you know, a little more formal. And it just has the highest authority of any piece of any channel you could use right now. People trust you, and it has a proven ROI of 13 to 1. Think about that, 13 to 1. Okay, how many other of your marketing channels have an ROI like that? okay? And it just bears more influence over your buyers, okay? Direct response marketing is not about the cool things that you can do, right? Direct response marketing is about how customers want to engage with you. So when you think about all these cool things going on now, is that what your customers want? Do you know your customers? For example, the personal development niche. The average customer is a woman 45 to 75 years old. Does she care how cool AI is? No. Financial newsletter. 55 plus year old man, conservative, right? They just want the financial stuff. Alternative health, women 40 to 65 years old. And men's lifestyle, same thing, 40 to 65 years old. So it is about talking to them, answering their challenges, talking about how you can move their life along, okay? And this is pretty cool, okay? Look at this. Millennials frequently and occasionally bring marketing mail into their retail stores. I was shocked when my 26-year-old took her direct mail pieces into one of those, cool store for younger kids. Frequently and occasionally used marketing mail to go online, and then prefer to shop at stores that advertise through the mail, and regularly purchase the items that were featured in direct mail. Okay? Look at this. Ad blocking, right? Look at those numbers of people who are using ad blocking software right now. So you're already losing 30% of your base, right? Whoever thought of that? So every single time you go online or you're paying for something online, you're losing about 30% of your base right there. All right? And the direct mail, it's a big deal. It's not getting smaller, it's just getting larger. I'm going to go through these quickly because I really want to get to who else uses direct mail. So everybody knows Agora, right? The largest information marketing publishing company on the planet, privately held. They're over $1 billion. I called the CEO last week and I asked them how much revenue comes in from direct mail. 18% of their revenue comes in from mail. That's about $180 million. Amazon, one of the biggest mailers on the planet. Google, another one. All right? So what these guys are doing is they're combining. They're using multi-channel marketing, right? They're not just using one method of marketing. So where is that hidden gold mine? Anybody ever see a report like this? Basically, you send out a mailing, and you get all your opens, your clicks, blah, blah, blah. See those bounces right there? When we mail something and something is bounced, you can't mail to them again until they opt back in. Okay? So just remember that number right there, because that's your gold mine. Okay, so what is direct response marketing before we get into everything? It's a form of marketing designed to solicit an immediate response, and that response is specific and quantifiable. Okay? Think of it as, opening your wallet compared to memory. Memory is that Nike billboard, right? Opening your wallet. It's very highly targeted as opposed to a broad reach. It's informational opposed to image building, and it's really explicit in its intent, right? Branding, and I know there's so many branding experts, but it's just broader. Okay, this is very specific. Okay? And everybody is just one promotion away from making their business the best year they've ever had. When I was at Agora, I had a promotion that did $17 million, one promotion, all right? Because we used the right direct response marketing tactics, Okay? So what is the holy grail of direct response marketing? These three core fundamentals do not change. It is your copy, your offer, and your list. Okay? We're going to go through these because this is so important that people get it. If you don't understand direct response marketing, doing the cool things doesn't matter, right? Like feeding AI doesn't matter if you don't understand direct response. Why do you think Mike is so good at it? Because he knows direct response, right? Why do you think people who have a really successful video production are so good at it? Because they understand direct response. If you don't get this, it's like building your dream home on swampland. It might look pretty, it's gonna come crashing down, okay? Okay, so out of those components, this is the breakdown. A lot of copywriters would be like offended. They'd be like, what? But this is true. Your list, your media, is responsible for 60% of your campaign. Your offer, 30%, and then your copy, 10%. And we're gonna go through that. Okay? Without the right list, great copy is meaningless. Okay? So the copy essentially is the message you use to promote your product or service. And then these are the principles of great copy. This is so important that you get this, that it should be highly controversial, right? It has to have that intent. Short copy can work well, but long copy just outpulls every time, okay? And these are test after test after test. This is, 38 years of testing, guys, okay? Another principle, the lead is 80% of your game. So if you don't have that lead there, the rest of it is kind of useless, okay? These are 6 proven leads that are they're so exciting because you can write however you want to. You have this incredible list to choose from. So an offer and promise, an invitation, a problem, a solution, a secret, a story, or a prediction. So right now, my God, like in financial newsletters, predictions with the election, who's not using that? It's fantastic. Okay, here's just some examples. So an offer promise is buy small cap stocks to avoid the rotating blades of death. Okay, so just a little examples here, guys, of each one of these things. Okay, so leads can be direct or indirect. A direct lead gets right to the point. An indirect lead builds mostly time with a story. When I launched Working Moms Only, because they wanted to know how I did it, how I had a family, how I ran businesses. I would always start with a story. I would always say, oh my gosh, this weekend, Connor fell in the pool, blah, blah, blah. Did that ever happen to you? Did your kids have sunscreen on? And we went and talked about sold sunscreen, right? So, easy. The best kind of copy is well balanced. It has an idea, benefit, credibility, and track record. We like to call this the 4-legged stool. Basically, if you don't have all 4 of those criteria in your copy, that stool is going to fall right over. Okay? When composing headlines and bullets, make sure you use the 4 U's: uniqueness, usefulness, urgency, and ultra specific. Okay. Every product needs a USP. What makes your product stand out? At Centerpoint, we have such a great USP, right? I mean, nobody else has our technology, and no one else is going to fix your brain with a push of the button. A push of the button. That's all it takes. Okay? Benefits are better than features. So if you were in a car, responding to a car ad, what's better? This car has anti-lock brakes, or this car is going to keep your pregnant wife safe driving home on a rainy night, right? Like, that's a benefit, okay? Write to one person at a time. We should all be really good at this because basically you need to pass the bar stool test, right? Like you talk to people as if you're sitting next to them at a bar. How many times do you get an email that says, "Dear friends," right? No, right? It's "Dear Cat." It's, it's not "Dear friends." Make sure if you were talking, you and I were talking at a bar, we'd be like this talking, okay? Make sure you're grabbing their attention. Make sure they understand the need for your product, they can visualize your product, and how it will enhance their lives. Okay? Make it easy to order. Make any CTA prominent. I see this all the time, especially online, where people blend their button color to match their copy or match their headline, right? Any CTA needs to scream, not whisper. You need to scream. It needs to pop. You don't want it to look pretty. You want it to say, "Here I am." Okay? Let's talk about what an offer is. It's what your customer receives once they purchase and how they receive it. So again, make sure there isn't confusion, because a good offer can double the response rate, and a bad offer can kill an entire mailing. Okay, so what is an offer? The offer is the deal you make with your customer, the terms, what he gets for what he gives you, includes the product, the service, all the promises made about the product and service, how to buy it, and a guarantee. And they've got to pass my test, all right? Basically, is your offer specific? Is it exclusive? Again, people don't get that you give them a deadline. This is for the first 100 people. You have to be in by midnight tonight. Like, have you gotten emails where it says, "This offer is only good for the next few days"? Not specific or urgent, okay? Is your offer valuable? Is it unique? Available only through your business? Again, Centerpoint, can only get it through Centerpoint. You can only get our proprietary technology through Centerpoint. Okay? Is it useful? Does it help your customers save money, time, do their jobs better? Is something else just as helpful? All right? Is it relevant? Right? Like talking about who's going to win the election after the election, probably not good. Is it plausible? Have you seen the offers where it's worth $23,000, but you can get it today for $997? Right? Like, okay, I don't think so. Is it easy to acquire? Again, this is so important in any channel of marketing. Is it urgent? We kind of just talked about that. And do you have a guarantee? And people are really afraid to use longer guarantees, and I don't know why, because I'm going to tell you, the longer the guarantee, the smaller the refund rate, right? Like people think, oh, if I give them a year, right? I'm telling you, a year is going to outpull 90 days every time.
Just because it's so painful, Authorize.net shut our merchant services down and froze our money for 180 days because we had a year guarantee on our website.
That's
because they said that put them too much at risk.
Direct mail.
I know. I'm just saying, only if you have that guarantee, only put in direct mail. It can't, if it's on your web browser. I'm just to be careful, or wherever you want to talk to. We got shut down because we did a year, so we had to get rid of it.
Well, it depends, because we do a year online all the time. For the last 35 years, we've had a year guarantee on our flagship product.
That's because you weren't talking to us.
So there you go. So there. All right, it might just. But actually, that's who we use. Sometimes it's just the business. It depends about how much money you've got in the bank, the credibility of the business, et cetera, et cetera. So if you can, I highly recommend it. And again, this is the one thing that really bothers me, is when people make marketing choices based on technical situations, you know? And so, Mike?
It's a good point what you raised. The best thing to do, whether it's PayPal, Stripe, or your merchant account, is just call them ahead of time before you launch it and say, hey, here's what I'm thinking of doing. Do you have a problem with that? And get pre-approved. And if they say no, then you probably wouldn't want to do it, but it's just be proactive. And because some are a lot easier to deal with, and Authorize.net may be really strict with something like that.
And really quick to add to that, if you do that, don't issue the refund through your merchant processor. Issue a gift card. So you're not doing any refunds through your processor for a full year. The person just wants their money back, issue a Visa gift card. Don't do the refund through your merchant processor.
Great idea. Thank you. Thank you. So there's always a way around it. And if you're going to lower your refunds, you're going to find a way, right? It's just too important. It's too much money, okay? Okay. All right. The importance of an offer. Great copy plus a responsive list, but if you have a weak offer, you're still going to have a low overall response. Okay? Now, this is the most important thing, so we're going to spend a little more time on this. This is your list, your audience, your who. And this is the really important part. People are always like, I have to build a list, I have to build a list, I have to build a list. What you want to do is build a community of like-minded folks, okay? And when you start thinking of it as a community of like-minded folks opposed to a list, your list is going to soar in growth, okay? Okay? Right? Because all lists are not created equal. This is, I always say, you don't sell lingerie to lumberjacks, okay? So finding that list, finding that source is worth you being the detective. And when I start a new business, I am always the one to do the media buying, always. I will never turn that over to anybody until I have that up and running, okay? Because a good list with mediocre copy and a regular offer is still going to give you a response. A bad list with great copy and a great offer, you're not going to get any response. Okay? So number one rule of media buying is birds of a feather flock together. Okay? So when you're looking for other lists to go to, you're going to say, does the list owner offer its own products or services for sale? Does the list owner have its own e-zine? Are similar companies advertising on their site? Are there similar offers to yours? Okay? You need to understand your customer before you do any of this. Okay? Start with surveys, start with SurveyMonkey. It's easy, it's cheap, and it's fast. Okay? We'll go back there for a second. Why is this important? Because, and we can stay here for a second, because basically what you find out about your customers goes far beyond just the demos. It goes into the psychographics, beyond their age and their gender and income level and their marital status and their geographic location. You ask about what they do, what they love to do in their spare time. When I was at Weiss, I couldn't find enough lists. Like, we were going crazy. Our ROI was crazy. We just wanted to mail. And this is in the mail. So I sent a survey asking these old, 58-year-old, older, white, conservative men what they like to do in their spare time. I got back, majority said gardening. Who would have thunk? So I went out to like really high-end gardening magazines, and I just increased my universe. All of a sudden, I just didn't have to go to all the other financial newsletter lists, right? I could go to these gardening magazines and have a whole new list of people paying us for our newsletter, okay? Okay? Also, talk to them about their social media. So people love to talk about themselves. So when you send a survey, yes, have your 10 kind of questions that you're going to let them choose from. But then ask open-ended questions. They love to talk about themselves. At the end of that survey, offer them a free gift. If you're in the health business, whether it's a special report on a supplement, an exercise, a psychedelic, and you don't even have to write these reports yet, but what you do is you get data. like what reports they take. That's what they like, right? Because people want, if they're getting something from you, so they're going to tell you what they want. Okay? Before you go out and purchase any media, make sure you understand if you're going to use it as a revenue gen, a lead acquisition, or just a break even. Like I would go down in the direct mail, to 80% just because the ROI was so high on the back end. Get the front end at 80%, then the ROI just crushed it on the back end. Okay? Now, what's the most desirable mail out there right now, guys? Right? It's probably joint ventures, affiliates, right? But what's the problem with that? If you're new, that big mailers won't test your offers, they want a reciprocal, and if you don't have a list, what are you going to do for them? And sometimes it's just a good old boys network, right? Like everybody, who they know is just who they're going to do some mailings with. So the best way you can do is buy your way in, right? Go out there and rent lists. And that's why we call this multi-channel marketing, because when you're renting lists, let me just go back a second. Channels of marketing is just the form in which you communicate with your customers, right, and ask them to buy. Kind of what we said before about, a lot of people like to get the mail, okay? But here's just an example of all the channels out there and all the places lists come from. Everybody thinks a list just comes from your e-letter or your customer base. This is all the place names come from, okay? So when you want to start buying lists or renting lists, make sure that you subscribe to your competitors, you track who's purchasing media from other lists, you track what offers are running on a consistent basis, and purchase media from your competitors' advertisers. All right? This is a great place to find lists if you want to go out and rent some lists. We're going to go through a data card really quickly, because these are the things you look at when you are renting lists on a data card. Basically, you just want the name of the list, the universe and the pricing, the description of that list, any demographic information, their advertising specs, their list updates. Okay, so if you're renting a mail list, right, are they following all of the regulations? Gender breakouts, your minimum order, the source, meaning how did they get those names, the media, average unit of sale, net name policy usage. Okay, and this kind of just shows you what a data card looks like a little bit. Right here, okay? Okay, so here are some tips for if you're renting lists. Buyer lists, obviously, are always going to be the best. Make sure that average unit of sale is at least as high as what your product is. Okay? General newsletters or e-zines are okay. They're good. Do not purchase or rent compiled lists. People know what compiled lists are. They're basically, if you go to the mall and somebody's taking a survey, that's a compiled list. So you never want to rent that. Hotlines are always going to be better. That means they've recently purchased. And use your selects wisely. Okay? So when I say they want your business, make sure you are looking at a list that attracts your customers' demographics, speaks to your prospects' psychographic interests, commands a large volume of traffic. So if two lists are similar and they've got 50,000 and this one has 2 million and you're going to test the one with 2 million first because you have a larger universe to roll out to. You want to make sure they're direct response buyers. And you want to make sure that whoever you're renting your list from is committed to your success, okay? So when I say they, I'm talking about list owners, list managers, list brokers, okay? And when you're renting lists, you're always testing. You are never doing a campaign where you don't have tests in there, ever, okay? So test things like your subject line, your leads, text Then test other, your banner ads, your squeeze pages. You're always testing something. Or here's just some more test kind of things that you can do, whether it's your graphics and, of course, your price, your bonuses, and your terms. But you're always testing one thing at a time, right? So you always want to do that A-B split so that you can read the test. So if you're testing a headline, you're not testing body copy, right? You're just testing a headline, apples to apples, okay? Test things that scream, again, not whisper. So again, you test big things. You don't test the word is and the word are, right? You're testing big things that are going to make a difference in the campaign. Make sure every campaign is a test. Track every test, and don't assume you know anything, okay? When you scale your test, you can scale a list 5 times. So remember, I just said you tested 10,000 names from 2 million. You're not going to take the 2 million the next time. You're going to take, you're going to take 50,000. Everything is a 5-time scale, okay? Always ask your broker for other related lists. And think about scaling beyond your niche. So if you're in the newsletter business, now, go out to, the coaching business. So like one thing, one step apart. Okay, so look beyond your niche. Okay, but why do we say we want people to use multiple sources for channels, right? Because customers who buy from 2 channels versus 1 are 20 to 60% more valuable to you. All right, so if somebody's buying from you in direct mail and online, okay, and then customers who buy from 3 channels versus 1 are 60 to 125% more valuable. Hence, the Google postcard, right? So people are seeing the postcard, they're seeing their stuff online, they're buying, okay? All right, plus multi-channel customers buy a wider range of products. You're just talking to them more. Direct response marketing, somebody has to see your message 3.5 times on average before they respond. Okay, that's why you hear on the radio back-to-back commercials, the same thing, right? Like you'll be like, oh, that commercial was just on. Like there was nothing in between. Because you have to see something 3.5 times. Okay? So as a marketer, reach your customers the way they want to be reached, right? That way, you're solving your customer's problem. You're also solving your own problem by converting this person to a paying customer. And multi-channel marketing is just good for the customer. It's good for your business. Okay? So here we go. Don't be afraid of the M word. All right, remember we talked about that 10,000 number before? This is what you do with that 10,000 number. Every single time you have a mailing and you get bounces, you take that mailing and you query that mailing and you say, who in here is a buyer, right? You take all the buyers from that number and you put them through a re-engagement campaign in direct mail through a different server or a different email service provider, okay? Once you have those numbers, you take the rest, and here's the magic, guys. You send them this postcard. The work is done for you right here, okay? You send them this little postcard. This cost 63 cents in the mail. Literally, my fulfillment manager does it at the office. We don't do anything else. She prints it and sends it. 63 cents. How many of you get buyer names for 63 cents? Buyers of your product, right? People take that little gold mine that I was talking about, they let those names bounce, and they're done with them. They don't do anything with them. How many of you do something with those names that bounce? That's a gold mine. 13 to 1. You're going to get revenue here every single time. Mike?
Do you already have the addresses in your database, or are you
Oh, yes.
going
yeah,
somewhere to
yeah,
get
they're
those?
buyers.
Oh.
These guys, so that's what I'm saying. So the first step from that 10,000 out of anything that bounces, the first step is find out who the buyers are. Second step, run them through an email campaign, a email e-engagement, but we have to do it through a different email service provider, right, because they already bounced here, and we kind of say, oh, I think there's a mistake, we can't talk to you, make sure, and here's your free gift, just opt back in, here's your free gift. Anybody who doesn't respond to that gets the postcard. Okay? 63 cents to get a buyer's name back on your list. Okay? Is that crazy? Right? So here's the other campaign, is buyers, I send them whatever working the best that they don't have. I put a little post-it at the top, Xerox. Xerox, say I couldn't reach you by email, and this is too important for you not to see, please read. This one, 74 cents in the mail, because it's number 10 envelope, all right? So that's your little, you can go back and do this on Monday. You can do this on Monday. So before you start going out and renting lists, which you should, which you absolutely should at some point, do these first. Make sure you get everything right first. You've got the postcard, and you've got this mailing. And that's your little gold mine. And that's it. Who has a question? Okay.
Hi, you're talking about renting a list. I know all about that on the email side, but are you talking about renting a physical mailing list
sure.
of buyers? Is that?
Yep.
Is that? Mm-hmm. Was that on that link that you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All
Yes. But the same thing. It's just renting a mailing list is just like renting an email list, except people who rent mail lists, they're the old timers. They have a lot more information on them than you get nowadays from anybody renting an email list. Okay? Yeah, right. Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. Anybody else? Oh, microphone.
It's really just a quick question. Do you have a current list of both list purveyors that we can access, like who you'd recommend, and also fulfillment houses? I'm struggling finding good fulfillment houses. And not product fulfillment, but the mailing fulfillment.
So,
Postcard Mania, blah, blah,
so
blah, blah, blah.
For these two campaigns, right, because they're your list, right, your buyers, you don't need that, you could take that to any Kinko's or whatever. You could take it there. When you go out and you have several lists, first you're going to put them through a merge purge, meaning that you don't want to mail to the same person 3 times. So if they're on 3 different lists, you're going to merge them out, and then you're going to go to a mailing house. And yes, I know everybody, the best ones who've survived, right? So these people have survived.
When you were talking about doing the Survey Monkey over to the list, were you actually mailing them something to then take a survey, or was this through email?
That was through email.
Okay, copy.
Yeah, easy peasy. Anyone else?
So we do something really fun. I dressed up as Morpheus in the Matrix, and so I'll send out a direct mail piece, box with a red and a blue pill, and then it'll have a landing page. And then the video just stays there, and then they can book a call. But that's been working really, really well.
That's awesome. And what we do at Centerpoint is we send a holiday card in the mail, and then we have a link on there that basically says, hey, see our company video that we did this year. And of course, on the bottom of that are products, et cetera, et cetera. So killing several birds. But if you send a holiday card to your folks in the they're going to love you forever. When I tell you at Centerpoint, 35 years, how many businesses have been in, for 35 years, people staying with you. So you've got to do these things, and going through the mail is the best way. It's the best way. Anyone else?
So, round of applause.
Yeah. Oh, I'll go back to that.
Amazing as always.
Thank you.